So there's this poem written by Marianne Williamson, and I wanna read it for you. It's just the first part. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? And then he goes on about who are you not to be? And honestly, I really love that quote. It always resonated, but it wasn't truly felt until I I started this video podcast. Yeah, that's why I wanted to share this beautiful poem, part of it, because I truly believe that this is what we are most afraid of, our own light. You know, officially I started this podcast right after I moved from Holland. Um, I I said it even in the intro. Like I literally made space for it. I had this realization of or this clarity of okay, I want to start doing this. It was I believe December 2021, and but what followed was me also deciding on selling everything. So I made space for it, and it took me so much time to create the first episode and the trailer because I wanted it to be perfect. That whole scripting process, I think I was working for it on a week, like for a week. I was telling my own story, so that doesn't make any sense, right? But anyway, I was working for it for a long time. And I think partially was because the story that I wanted to tell was a story that was still very fresh because I just literally left it, like I literally just walked out of it. And and so I really wanted to be intentional about it. I really cared about the topic. But that also made it very, like it made it a very hard learning process to the point where I'm like, if I have to do this every episode, I'm not gonna keep up with it. Like, it's gonna take too much of my time and energy. And obviously, that's when, right after launching it, I got asked to design beautiful spaces in Tulum. And so I was actually distracted and I just left it as it is. But I still had this, like, it was this dissatisfying feeling of, oh my God, I want to do this so much. And I feel like I'm failing people. I really felt like I was failing people by not showing up. And that's a shitty feeling. And so I had another attempt. And this time I said to myself, you know what, Ash? We're gonna hire someone. We're gonna hire someone who's gonna do the videography. Like, let's make it a podcast and a show. And I had this entire vision of what I wanted to create. And I went on and interviewed a lot of people to find someone I wanted to work with. And we set a date. And I believe it was May 2024 when we started to officially work together. And in the first round, like the first day of shooting, we agreed to do 4 episodes. Well, mind you, I've never done that before. Like, I've never done this before, right? So I was like, okay, let's see where it goes. Like, four is a lot. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Let's just experience it. The first episode that we were shooting, everything went wrong. And just even before that, I didn't really know what I was going to say. Like, I had an idea of the topics, but I had no idea of because I wasn't scripting. And that's what's one thing I really said to myself, like, we're not gonna do scripting. Forget about it. I'm just gonna show up purely as me. I'm gonna tell a story as it is. And I would prefer just one take, just one take. And which is why, 4 episodes in half a day felt doable. Um, but that first episode, a lot of things went wrong. And so I decided to dedicate an episode on that. can watch it. I will make sure to link it. That was the first ever real episode shot for the House of Ash. And then we went on. I went upstairs because I was shooting around my place, and I changed into something else, and I started talking about this new subject, and yeah, I ended up doing it like 4 episodes. You would think that I would feel overly excited, right? Like, oh my God, I did it. And I did actually. There was a true moment where I was like, oh my God, I did it. I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so happy that um, it flowed. Like I could tell that just by putting myself in that position where I just had to show up because I already paid that guy, and he's dependent on me too. And I'm like, yeah, I really am grateful that I put myself in that position so that I had to show up and do my thing. And I don't think, and I honestly think that I did really well for a first time. So I was like, oh my God, this is actually really what I would love to keep on doing. Like, this is truly part of my purpose. Like, I really love being in front of the camera, just talking, doing my storytelling, and all of that. But then, um, right after, I started to paralyze. Honestly, it was so scary to watch the videos that he created. Because I could see everything, like every flaw, every like thing I said that wasn't really the right thing to say, or just failing English in general, or just everything. But it was also like the purity of me is like, oh my God, I'm so exposed because I'm so much myself. It felt threatening. It felt scary. What I didn't know and what I know now is it actually paralyzed me. I really, really, because I was really busy with, getting out of my comfort zone, doing things that scare me. That's beautiful. And at the same time, it can have an after effect still when you do scary things. And for me to show my true light and just to be completely myself also made me feel very vulnerable. And what happened was we actually decided to do another round. That round, we would shoot the trailer, and so he would make a lot of B-roll footages, and then we would do 2 episodes. And I think that was the week after. And so again, I showed up. But as he started to make edits and start to share things, I also saw a lot of things that I just didn't like about his work. And eventually, he did not give me everything that I paid for. So basically, 2 episodes I never got, and a lot of the B-roll shots I never got. Um, Unfortunately, we are not working together anymore because of it. But in that whole situation, I'm not going to put too much emphasis on that because it was more about what I had to learn from this. In the whole situation, I had to really look at myself like, okay, so this is what he did, but what did you do? And then I started to see it because it was May-ish, May to June, and then in end of June, I went to Holland for the summer. I stole it because I was like, okay, it's summer holiday. We're gonna go back to Holland. We're gonna enjoy time with the family. And then when I got back in September, I sent him a message like, okay, I'm gonna look at everything and then we can make the final edits. This guy was already busy with his own life and with his own purpose and whatever. He's like, whatever, Ash, you take your sweet ass time. I'm already here, like literally he moved and he went to another place in Mexico. And yeah, I paid for it and he should give me what I paid for. And at the same time, I had to be like, gosh, you did it too. Like you postponed. You've been hiding. And then I had to look at myself. And then I really had to really feel like, oh my God, this is the scariest thing I've ever done. And I also had to understand like there's a form of perfectionism that I admire that was kind of the excuse to hide from actually hiding. I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say, but um, I didn't know I was hiding. I kind of knew, but I didn't because I thought, hey, I did everything. I found someone, I'm doing it, I'm showing up, and I'm doing it authentically and honest, right? Because there's no script and it's just me and the story, and boom, I'm doing it. But it was basically meeting it halfway because I wasn't following through. And I had to be real about that. Fast forward to end of the year, when I was starting to do like this little recap of the year. It wasn't a little, it was actually a big one. I had to face the fact that for a whole year I basically fucked up. you know, I wasn't where I wanted to be when it comes to this project. And I saw how much effect the fear of being seen in my light has cost me. It cost me to spend money to kind of show up, but that not really follow through, and then having all these ideas and dreams and everything just stalled. And a partnership, that couldn't blossom but erupted. So I forgave him. I never spoke to him ever again because I think he blocked me, to be honest. But I forgave him for his part, and I forgave myself for my part. And then I was like, okay, we're going to do it ourselves. Like, I did not want to start this whole project by myself because, one, it's a lonely ride. I love to work together. It's just so much more fun to have a team. And one day there will be a team. But I was like, no, Ash, no more excuses, no more perfectionism. We're just gonna do it at home. We're gonna do it with your own freaking camera. I ended up buying a webcam attached to my computer. I ended up buying software, no microphone. My computer is good enough for now. And we're gonna learn how to edit and just do the freaking thing ourselves. And so I did. I bought everything. I shipped it all to Holland, which was just easier. And then I came back from Christmas time in Europe, and I started to create more real, more honest, because I was letting go of, that beautiful vision that I have and someday will come true. But it's like, but let's honor the small steps also, or not even small steps, the small beginnings, I need to say, where it's just me, the camera, and showing up as an offer, because I feel like I really like this urge in me that wants to share these stories, and honor that. Because end of the day, how scary it might have been, and how much paralyzed I have felt, like I felt paralyzed. I also understood and saw, like, oh my God, this is my purpose. Oh my God, I love this. Oh my God, I love being in front of the camera. And I knew that, this scary thing, which is basically surrendering to spirit and letting go of all the human blocks of trying to control it and trying to keep it safe, like it was winning from me. It's like, no, spirit wants to lead. She's gonna do this, and I had to let her do it, not knowing how she's gonna show up, when she's gonna show up. And I started even with creating something small on my phone. It was a clip of me creating. I was making matcha for myself. I bought this new brand, uh, and in Holland, and I wanted to try it out. And I was like, let's just make a video. Let's just start free flowing before I actually start the real podcast. Let me just start with free flowing and tiptoe. And then I created it, and I was scared as fuck to post it because I was so authentically real in myself. And mind you, I was authentic and real myself in that episode that I shot with the videographer. Don't get me wrong, but the idea of posting it was like a step too far, right? And this is me now free flowing and doing myself, and I made it, and I was talking to my friend, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't think I can post this. And she's like, you don't have to. Like, just do it for yourself, and then maybe someday you will. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. And I posted the matcha clip. And what happened was that a lot of people actually started responding, a lot of girls actually, because they related to matcha, they related to whatever I was telling. And you could see my goofy side, you could see everything, and it made me human, I guess. And it helped me to show up for the real thing, for the House of Ash. Why am I telling this story? I'm telling this story because I do crazy things in life. I do a lot of scary things in life. And still, I, who do those crazy, scary things in life, find it the most hardest thing ever to just show up as me in front of a camera, tell the stories, and all of that because of that fear of showing my light. And I know where it comes from. I can tell you a lot of stories of where this comes from. This comes from when I was a little girl, and at school we had a lunch break. And at lunch break, I remember it still, and I think I was 6, 7, 8. I don't know, but I was really tiny, like I was just a youngster. And I was a huge fan of Michael Jackson. And I was grooving around and I was doing, I'm bad, you know it. And I was holding my crutch and everybody was laughing. I was just entertaining the class. And my teacher was like, oh my God, Ash, you're so funny. And then when my mom picked me up, she forced me to do it again. And I said, no, I don't feel like it. And what she did was, she said, well, if you're not going to do it, then you're not allowed to perform anymore in the classroom. And I so I didn't understand it now back then, but now I'm like, so you basically punish a girl, like a youngster, uh, when see, like I was in that moment, in the moment that I did it. I wasn't in that moment when my mom picked me up. So it's like you punish me for what? And then there's a story when I was a teenager and I was in my final year, and I did a very, very heavy, beautiful presentation about Malcolm X for Dutch literature, for Dutch class. And this, the Dutch, how do you call that? Like we say Nederlands. So like in Holland, you have multiple languages that they teach. Usually it's German, French, English, and Dutch. I'm not saying that I can speak German or French. I kind of understand German, but like, I'm not really good in languages in general. And so I'm not really that good in Dutch in Holland. I'm not that good in Dutch when it comes to grammar and stuff. So anyway, I was doing the presentation in front of this classroom, and I nailed it. Like I was in like I was living it. But at the same time, I was scared of shit because it's really scary to stand in front of people in general. I think it's one of the biggest fears. So I had to overcome that, and I showed up, and the teacher was really impressed, and he was like, Ash, you get a 9, which is basically like an A. You got an A. And that grade was so important. It was like half of the final grade that I would get. And so I was so grateful that I got such a high score. But right after he said that, there were a group of girls that started, and then the guys started. They were making very nasty comments about my performance and about me and the teacher and all that kinds of crazy stuff that I'm not gonna repeat. And they were basically like they were basically punishing me and how you say that, like crucifying me for shining. And I was a tough girl, so I'm like not affected. And I get tears right now to say it. There was a little I've always been a rebel, so people could not see if they would hurt me. I could be tough. So I was like, yeah, whatever. You're just jealous. But it really overshadowed my victory of showing up and doing an amazing job. And then there's the story when I was like working for this big tech company, and I was one of the few girls that were hired because it's a very masculine culture. And I was performing really well to the point where, and those are guys because most of the people there were guys, they were just saying things like, oh, you're using your looks to get your deals, you're using your voice, you're using whatever God gave you in your advantage, and it's not fair, and you're not talented, and you're just using being a woman in your advantage. And that was harsh, and at the same time I'm like, whatever, let them talk, I'm just gonna keep on showing up. But I remember I closed a big deal, and I had some backlash with that, with people that were just not happy for me. Even when I just started there, and that guy turned later became a friend, and then he had to confess, like, yeah, one day you came to me to ask for help as a buddy, And this was a guy who already worked there for 2 years, and he's a smart guy. So I asked him for help, and he's like, he didn't want to help me. And then later he confessed because he was attracted to me in a sense of, like, you're a pretty girl. Are you gonna make advantage of me for me helping you? And I'm like, dude, I was just new. I was just asking for help, uh, because I was new. Eventually, there was this guy, and it's very beautiful that he did that. But he ended up telling me after he got promoted to my team, and he sat right behind me in the cubicle. One day he said, Ash, I was one of them that judged you, but honestly, I need to tell you, you're really good. I listen to your phone calls. I overhear it, and you really know what you're doing. And it was such a beautiful compliment. But I always had to face um, judgment because who am I to be beautiful and pretty and smart and all of that, right? Um, I don't want to be teary right now, but who am I to show my light and be all of that? And I think that has haunted me for a long time. And so, despite all the courageous things that I have done in my life, and that could be something small too, telling a guy that you like him, or like going into a new community and just showing up on a dance floor with very beautiful, powerful women on the beach, which was the dance floor, uh, because you feel like, hey, I want to dance, and it's scary, it's scary. I never really had girlfriends until I moved to Mexico. It's when I really started to build beautiful friendships. Um, so I was a late flower with a lot of things. And end of the day, I really believe that these are all stories shaped for whatever reason. But I also see like, hey, there were teachings, they were also blessings. And now I'm like, I am constantly refining my voice. Like, for example, one of the episodes, like the last one that I posted, was about, selling my $1 million house. It's actually a similar story of the first episode I ever launched for my podcast. And I had to redo it, I had to redo it because there was so much more to tell. And that was last year when I worked with the videographer. And so I posted it just now, like a year later. And as I was getting ready to do that, I also saw parts of that where I'm like, I would not have, I would have said it differently now than how I did it back then. But because I have a new understanding when it comes to perfectionism, whereas like, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect for it to be ready. And so now instead of saying, oh, I should have done it differently, or I'm not good enough, or whatever I could say to myself, I'm saying to myself, you know what, Ash? Um, I'm not sure if you guys see it, but I know that, look, I'm not sure. Yeah, you guys see it. Oh, it's so funny. I saw this thumb, and then this should do something too. Yeah, this is better. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, now I just say to myself, I'm refining my voice. This is how I talk to myself now. There's a part where I said something about, like moving here, and it obviously affected my son who was 4. He was just turning 4. And when you turn 4 in Holland, you get to go to school, but at 5 you have to go to school. Like then it's like an obligation. And so I said to myself, okay, I have a year to figure out what we're gonna do here because I did not want him to be in the school system. And that part I didn't tell. That part I left out because I'm like, let's just keep it simple. When I tell the stories already, like so many topics that we hit, let's just keep it simple. But as I was promoting that show, that specific episode, I also touched based on that. Like, hey, I jumped not just for me, but for my baby too. I want a different life for him. It took me first half of my life basically, and not that I'm gonna be 80, I'm probably gonna be older, but first half of my life basically to shape into who I am now. Like I had to let go of a lot of those identities, and I did not want that for him. I did not want him to start with okay, this is what you're supposed to do, like school, and then have a career, and then to find out like this is not really me. I wanted him to learn his emotions. I wanted him to play more outside than being stuck at home with a TV and a computer game, you know? I wanted him to really learn the world. Um, and and there were a lot of other things that I wanted for him, where I felt like I want him to be as close as possible to who he truly is, his natural side, as humanly possible. And I just don't believe he will get that if we would stay. And that's actually the truth, you know? Yeah, that beautiful vision that I have for him. That's what I wanted to make come true. And I believe that I accomplished that, with his dad. I think we accomplished that for him. And I'm very proud of that. And that part I didn't share because it's so much more than, oh, the weather is so much better. I think I said something like that. And it grinced me when I saw that. I'm like, seriously, Ash, that's all you had to say about that specific thing? Like, the weather? Like, no, it's so much deeper. It's to be willing and courageous enough to follow that vision and that desire of, no, I want something different for my baby. And and that's the reason also. Like, he was actually my number one reason for moving. It wasn't even me, And yeah, I'm refining my voice, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And that's the most important thing. I still felt like, hey, let's just launch this as it is, and that's okay, because we're constantly evolving and growing and all of that. Let me think if there's something else I wanted to say about this. Um, yeah, there's another thing I want to say about this. So about our light, like I said, there are many stories I could tell about how my light has hurt me in the past. But I also believe that I am the creator of my life, and therefore I'm never the victim. I believe that life works for me, not against me. Um, and an example is of how like this guy, the videographer, he did not do everything that we agreed upon. He got the money, he left. Okay, that's his part, but I had a part too, and that part I own, and then I learn from it, and then I move forward with that knowledge, and then I make different decisions, right? And the same thing is with showing up, and it's like, yeah, it was scary, but it gets easier, and it gets easier, and it gets easier, and so I shape my reality, and I shape, you know, the things that happened in the past. I don't see that anymore. Like, I don't have mean girl energy around me, and if I sense it, then I'm not there. Like I'm opted out. There's so many beautiful people that want to have me in their lives. I don't have time to look at all the people that don't and why they don't. That's not my problem. I can feel tension, and then it's for me to say, okay, I guess I trigger people with my whatever light. That's fine. It's not my problem, and it's just something I don't need to. Like, the pain is real. Like, the pain as the young girl that just wanted to fully express who she was real, and it affected me until then. Until launching the House of Ash and all these fears that creep up, and maybe it still affects me, and I will find out whenever it shows up. It's fine. I'm not gonna look for it, but I know that I know how to deal with it if it does. Um, what I'm trying to say in a lot of words, is I'm owning my light. I'm owning it, and yeah, maybe whatever the world will show, I feel it's a reflection. Right now it's love, and I honor that. And it's actually also a lot of silence because I don't always get feedback, but it doesn't matter because for me this is an offering. Like, I show up because I feel like I really feel like this is a gift that I want to give. These stories. Hopefully it can help people shift their minds, change perspectives, find courage. Or as Marianne says so beautifully in the end of her poem, she says, and as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Keep shining, guys. You got my permission to share. I'm always fucking big. I'm sorry for the language, but when I really am passionate about something, I tend to curse. Um, I'm a big cheerleader on people just following their heart and showing who they are and all the imperfect imperfections. I just love that because it takes so much courage to just be you. And we don't have to agree, and we don't have to be made from the same wood. But I still applaud it, and I think it's the most beautiful thing in the world. Thank you